The scream didn't echo. It died. I was scraping ice off my windshield when it happened. Thin, sharp, somewhere between the second and third level of the mall parking structure. It cut through the winter air, then vanished, as if the concrete swallowed it whole. I froze, scraper still raised. My breath fogged the glass in short, panicked bursts. The mall behind me was already dark, its holiday lights shut off early, red and green reflections trapped under a skin of frost. The parking lot lights flickered long, tired blinks, casting shadows that bent the wrong way. Too long. Too close. "Hello," I called, hating how small my voice sounded. No answer. Just the slow creak of the structure settling. And something else. Footsteps. Not approaching. Circling. I turned. Every car looked the same. Snow-dusted, silent, abandoned. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I almost dropped it, pulling it out. No service. Then the scream came again. Closer this time. Right behind my car. I spun around. Nothing. But the frost on my windshield. A message had been traced into it from the inside. "Don't stay after closing." The parking lights went out all at once. And I realized I wasn't the first one to read that warning. By the time the mall announced its final closing hour, winter had already claimed the parking lot. Snow drifted down in thick, quiet sheets, muting the world beyond the concrete walls. The automatic doors slid shut with a tired hiss, sealing the warmth inside and leaving the parking structure cold, hollow, and waiting. I stood near the security desk, finishing my log, pretending not to listen to the silence settling in. Northpoint Mall always felt wrong after hours, but winter made it worse. The cold crept into places it didn't belong. It crawled into your thoughts, slowed your breathing, made every shadow feel intentional. I was an ordinary person. No tragic past. No belief in ghosts. Just a night shift security guard who needed the paycheck. My job was simple. Lock doors, walk the halls, clear the parking levels. 2 hours alone. Then home. That night, the radios failed. Static hissed softly from the speaker on my shoulder, like something breathing too close. Dispatch didn't answer. I told myself it was the weather. Snowstorms messed with signals all the time. Still, I checked the exits twice. At 10:17 p.m., I stepped into the parking structure. The concrete swallowed the sound of the door closing behind me. The air was sharper here, colder, heavy with the smell of damp cement and old exhaust. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, flickering in uneven rhythms, never all at once, never fully dark. Level 1 was mostly empty. A few cars sat dusted with snow, their shapes softened, anonymous. My footsteps echoed too loudly, then echoed again, as if something followed half a second behind. I stopped. So did the echo. I exhaled slowly and kept walking. By level 2, my fingers were numb even inside my gloves. Snow had blown in through the open sides of the structure, forming thin white lines across the concrete floor, like scratches. Footprints cut through them. Fresh. They led away from the stairwell, and then simply stopped. No return prints. No drag marks. Just a sudden end, as if whoever made them had been lifted straight up. I stared longer than I should have. "Probably kids," I muttered. The words felt weak in the open space. Near the elevator, a single car sat with its engine off and windows fogged over from the inside. That caught my attention immediately. Heat didn't linger like that in this cold. Not for long. I approached slowly. "Mall security," I called. My voice echoed up the ramps and came back thinner, distorted. No response. I tapped on the driver's window with my knuckles. The fog shifted slightly. Something inside the car moved. I stepped back, heart hammering. "Hey, if you're in there, you need to leave. Mall's closed." A pause. Then tap. One slow knock from inside the glass. My radio crackled. I nearly jumped out of my skin. Closing, not safe. Static swallowed the rest. "Dispatch," I said quickly. "I've got someone in the parking structure." Only static answered. When I looked back at the car, the interior light had turned on. The front seats were empty. The back seat wasn't. A shape sat there. Too dark, too still. The fog on the rear window cleared in streaks, as if fingers had dragged across it from the inside. I backed away until my shoulders hit a concrete pillar. That's when I noticed I wasn't alone anymore. An old man stood near the elevator doors. He wore a security jacket like mine, but outdated. The logo was wrong. The fabric hung stiff on his thin frame. His face was deeply lined, eyes sunken, alert in a way that made my skin crawl. "I didn't hear you come up," I said. He smiled faintly. "You wouldn't. Are you lost, sir? Mall's closed." "I know." His gaze drifted toward the upper levels, where the lights flickered more violently. "That's when the lot starts listening." My stomach tightened. Listening to what? He took a step closer. The cold deepened around him, sharp enough to sting. "To who stays?" A low sound rolled through the structure, a distant scrape, like something heavy being dragged across concrete. "I work here," I said, more defensively than I meant to. "I'd remember you." His smile widened just a little. "You will." The elevator behind him chimed. The doors stayed shut. "Winter nights," he continued softly, "are long. People get tired. They think the parking lot is just empty space." He leaned in close enough that I could smell frost and old metal. Then he whispered the sentence that changed everything. "If you hear your own footsteps behind you, don't turn around." The lights went out. For one long second, the parking structure was completely dark. When the lights flickered back on, the old man was gone. The car was gone. The footprints were gone. But from somewhere above, level 3, maybe level 4, a scream tore through the concrete. Not loud. Not far. Close enough to feel. And I understood, standing alone in the freezing parking structure, that something had noticed me. And it wasn't finished yet. The scream didn't fade the way sound should. It lingered, thin, stretched, like it had been caught between levels of concrete and didn't know where to die. I stood frozen at the base of the ramp, breath fogging the air, listening as the sound unraveled into something wetter lower. Not pain anymore. Exhaustion. Then silence. The parking structure settled around me with a long, tired groan. Somewhere far above, snow slid off a ledge. I forced myself to move. Running would have made sense. Leaving would have been smart. But something in me, pride, denial, stupidity, needed to see. Needed to confirm there was a normal explanation hiding just out of view. Level 3. That's where the scream came from. My boots echoed as I climbed the ramp. Every step felt too loud. The lights flickered harder the higher I went, blinking in irregular bursts, casting the concrete into broken frames, like a film skipping scenes. Halfway up, my radio crackled again. "Don't stay." The voice wasn't dispatch. It sounded like mine. I stopped walking. The echo stopped too, but another set of footsteps continued for one extra beat. I clenched my jaw and kept my eyes forward. Level 3 opened into a wide, low-ceilinged expanse. Cars sat scattered like abandoned toys, half buried in snow blown in from the open sides. Frost clung to every surface, crawling up pillars, glazing mirrors. That's when I noticed the people. They weren't moving. 3 of them stood between parked cars, a man in a delivery jacket, a teenage couple holding hands, a woman clutching a purse to her chest. All frozen mid-motion, eyes wide, mouths parted as if caught halfway through a sentence. Their skin was pale blue, dusted with frost. Their shadows were wrong. The shadows leaned inward, stretching toward each other, pooling on the concrete like spilled ink. "Hey," I whispered. My voice shook. "Can you hear me?" One of the shadows twitched. The woman's lips moved, but no sound came out. I backed away slowly. My heel crunched on ice. Every shadow snapped its attention toward me. The temperature dropped so fast it felt like being plunged underwater. My breath came out in sharp, painful gasps. The lights above me dimmed, not off, just weaker, like they were being drained. I ran. Not toward the stairs. Toward the security office on level 3, a small glass-walled room management insisted was for visibility. I slammed inside and locked the door, Hands numb, chest burning. The glass fogged instantly. From the outside, something pressed against it. Not hands. Faces. Dozens of them emerged from the dark, pale and distorted through the frost. Eyes open, watching. Mouths moving in silent synchronization. My phone vibrated violently in my pocket. Unknown number. I answered without thinking. Hello. Breathing. Slow. Wet. Close. You came back, the voice said. It was the old guard. Where are you? I demanded. In the lot, he replied. Same as always. Those people out there, there. Staying, he finished. Same mistake every year. The glass creaked as something leaned harder against it. Hairline cracks spidered outward. Why is this happening? I asked. A pause. Northpoint was built cheap, he said finally. On land nobody wanted. Cold ground. Sinkholes. Old runoff tunnels. Management ignored the reports. That doesn't explain this. No, he agreed softly. The winter does. The lights flickered again. The faces outside the glass smiled. Cold makes people quiet, the guard continued. Makes them slow. Makes them listen. And the parking lot. It learned. The glass cracked. Learned what? How to keep what it's given. The door behind me rattled. I spun. The handle twisted from the outside. I don't want this, I said. I just work here. So did we, he replied. So did I. The phone line filled with whispers. Hundreds of overlapping voices, all familiar, all wrong. Stay. Listen. Almost closing. The door burst open. Cold flooded the room like a living thing, slamming me against the desk. Shadows poured inside, stretching, clawing, wrapping around my legs. I kicked free and bolted past them, sprinting blindly through level 3. Cars shifted as I passed. Metal groaning. Doors creaked open. Alarms wailed, but muffled like they were underwater. I caught glimpses of faces in mirrors that weren't mine. I heard my name whispered from inside car trunks. Near the far stairwell, I nearly collided with someone solid. A woman. Alive. She clutched my arm with freezing fingers. You hear them too, she gasped. The voices. I said. She nodded violently. They tell you it's safer if you stop. Who are you? Food court, she said. I stayed late. Snow got bad. I thought. A shadow slid across her back. Her grip tightened painfully. They won't let me leave. The lights above us popped one by one, plunging the far end of the level into darkness. I don't want to disappear, she whispered. A voice rose behind us. Dozens speaking as one. Closing time. The woman screamed. Her shadow tore free first, peeling off her feet, stretching up the wall. The cold hit her instantly. Frost raced across her skin. Her scream cut off mid-breath. When it was over, she stood frozen, eyes glassy, mouth open. Gone. I stumbled backward, sobbing, mind shattering under the weight of it. The old guard's voice whispered through the dark. You see now. The structure groaned deeply, like something massive shifting beneath the concrete. I ran again, screaming into the storm of shadows, knowing, finally, that this wasn't haunting. It was collection, and winter hadn't finished feeding yet. Darkness in the parking structure isn't emptiness. It's a presence. Thick, suffocating, crawling. When I reached level 4, the air felt alive. Breathing, moving, bending around me. Each step on the concrete echoed twice. Once under my feet, once somewhere behind me. The elevator chimed again, though it hadn't been called. Doors slid apart with a groan. Inside, faces. Not human faces, but frozen echoes of the missing. Eyes wide, mouths agape, skin dusted with frost. They stared, unmoving, silently screaming at me from the inside. I stumbled back, tripping over my own boots. My flashlight flickered. Shadows surged, stretching across the walls, pooling under pillars, curling around cars like liquid smoke. Whispers filled the space, overlapping. Stay. Listen. Remember. Hundreds of voices, mine among them, shouting from everywhere at once. I turned and ran blindly, past cars that seemed to shift when I wasn't looking, past doors opening on their own, past snow blown in from the open sides. My phone buzzed violently. Unknown number. I answered. Breathing, wet, close, familiar. "You came back," said the old guard's voice. I demanded, "Why is this happening?" "Because winter remembers," he said. "Because they never leave." A shadow peeled away from one of the frozen figures in the elevator. It moved toward me with deliberate intent. My heart thumped, chest burning. I stumbled back, slipping on ice, trying to find the stairwell. The lights flickered again and went out. Cold poured over me like liquid metal. My breath froze mid-air. Shapes emerged from every corner. Tall, thin, warped. They pressed against me from all sides. Whispers became screams, shouting my name. Every reflection in the tinted windows became a mirror of myself, but wrong. Wrong eyes, wrong mouth, wrong everything. The old guard stepped forward from the shadows, voice calm. "You don't leave the way you came." "I didn't do anything," I screamed. "Neither did we," he replied. The structure groaned. Concrete cracked. Cars shifted. Doors slammed open. My footsteps echoed. But one step behind me repeated itself, slower, heavier. I remembered the warning, if you hear your own footsteps behind you, don't turn around. I ran anyway. The shadow lunged. Frost ripped across my skin. Pain exploded in my shoulder. I bit my tongue to stop screaming. My name was everywhere, screaming back at me from the walls, from the cars, from the ceiling. Then, just for a second, silence. I didn't stop. I couldn't. Something pressed inside me, like it was claiming space, replacing memory, stealing name and identity. I broke through the stairwell doors and into the snowstorm outside. The structure collapsed behind me. Metal screaming, concrete shattering, shadows swallowed whole. I was alive. Barely. Shaking. Bloodied. Frost-bitten. But I knew it wasn't over. Winter still remembers. The parking lot still waits. And somewhere, deep beneath concrete and ice, the shadows are still collecting names. Closing time never really ends. The morning came gray and thin. A muted sun struggled through low-hanging clouds, barely illuminating the chaos left behind. Northpoint Mall's parking structure was a ruin. Twisted concrete, cars fused into jagged shapes, lights shattered, alarms long dead. Emergency crews swarmed cautiously, calling out into the cold silence. They found no bodies. No sign of anyone besides debris and frost. Security cameras, what little survived, were frozen on static, unblinking eyes capturing nothing, revealing nothing. I didn't go back. I couldn't. I quit, abandoned my apartment, changed shifts, even changed cities. But leaving never fully worked. The snowstorm still carried the same sharp, hollow echo to me, and sometimes, late at night, I swear I hear footsteps. They match mine. I never turn around, because I know that if I do, the shadows will see me. They will remember me. The lot beneath concrete and ice is still open, still hungry, still learning. Winter feeds. It always feeds. Sometimes I dream of the old guard. He stands at the edge of a frost-covered ramp, watching, smiling faintly. His words echo in my skull. Closing time doesn't end. It only begins. Even now I can feel it. A presence lingering behind. Footsteps following, whispering. The memory of the woman, the frozen faces, the stretching shadows, they're inside me now. They taught me something I cannot unlearn. The parking lot never forgets, and the snow never truly covers what it takes. I live but only as a shadow of myself. Hollow. Alert. Waiting. Knowing that one winter night, one careless step, could bring it all back. Closer, louder, inevitable. Closing time never ends. And neither does the winter.